Hey everybody, Don here again. Well, when I was out at CJ's, I had kind of thought about that was going to be the end of my YouTube channel. And I thought it would be a really fitting way to end my run. But I got to tell you, when I was out there, I just enjoyed myself so much. And I enjoyed trying to put together a video that would capture that whole story. That I said, man, I can't be done. I can't be done. So I'm going to do some more videos. Today, it's the Friday. It's the 2 days after our rifle season has opened here in New Hampshire. And when I was coming back from CJ's, I had a truckload of meat. I had 2 Yeti coolers, pretty much full of goodies. And my old freezer just wasn't big enough, so I got a new freezer. When I was moving the freezer, I tweaked my shoulder, and I think, well, let me rephrase that. I thought that I had torn my rotator cuff on my left arm as I did on my right arm a few years ago. It was the exact same pain. So I said, man, I'm not even going to get to hunt. But on the back property, I'm going to set up a ground blind. Good thing about New Hampshire is, we don't have a season for the crossbow. But you can use your crossbow during the rifle season. You just burn your rifle tag. And because of the encroachment around my property, I no longer feel comfortable hunting back here with the rifle. But it's a perfect place to use the crossbow. So I'm going to take the old John Deere back there. I've got a place set up where I want to put up a ground blind. And we'll see what happens. It's supposed to rain all weekend. So maybe I'll get out in the rain and be undercover. We'll see you in a bit. All right, so this is where I'm going to put my ground blind, but there was a couple of logs that I wanted to move. Right there is where I shot my turkey. This is looking up the food plot. Now these food plots are way overgrown, but there's underneath that hemlock right over there, there's a big scrape. There's another big scrape on the upper food plot. And I know the deer are cruising through here on the travel over towards the swamp. So really what I just wanted to do was move those big logs and a couple of those rocks. I may dump a load of mulch in here just to level it off a little bit. Next year, this is where I'm going to be putting up an elevated permanent blind. So I think my pop-up blind is like 5 foot by 5 foot. So I just wanted to move those logs a little bit. I'm going to go get a couple loads of bark mulch and drop them in here just to level off the ground a little bit. And I'm going to nip a few of those branches. But this will be a pretty nice spot. It'll be fairly well concealed, but I'll have a nice straight shot out here. And if I can get one to come in here within 50, 60 yards with the crossbow, that'd be awesome. Talk about getting into hunting late in the game. Usually I'm in hunting mode, 24/7, 365, but man, the last couple of years have just been harder and harder for me to want to get into it. I've really been more interested in fishing, so that trip to CJ's really got me fired up. This mulch I'm using has gotten really old. I think some of it at the bottom was probably 2 years old. The stuff on the top was from last year, but need to use it up. We'll put fresh stuff in the gardens next year. I'm just going to level this off a little bit. Tamp that down with a bucket a little bit just to pack it down good, and we'll set up the blind. Now, this is an old Cabela's hub type blind that I've had for quite a few years. Haven't used it since I took this to Ohio, I think in 2012, something like that. So it's 10 years since I've used this thing. And I want to move it back a little bit, and I want to come in. I'll clear this off in here so I can sneak in without making too much noise. And I will cut a bunch of hemlock boughs, maybe a couple small hemlocks, and stick them here in front. Got an old chair I'm going to bring in there, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity to shoot something. I may cut this piece right out. I don't think that Velcro's in. No, I may cut that piece right out so I have a wide open area to shoot the crossbow through. I hate to have that big of an opening, but the side windows are all kind of small, so this is going to come out. Yeah, well, nothing like wait until the last minute, right? I'll show you when it's all done. It's one thing I really like about this blind is it's got this netting on it, and you can weave these branches right in through it. That's going to be about it. I'm going to get 2 small hemlocks and plant them on each end of that, but that's going to be about it. All right, well, this is my setup. I'm right on the food plot that runs alongside the pond, and even though I've got a tree stand up there and a tree stand back there, I don't like shooting the crossbow from the tree stand because I don't have a good rest. But here, as you can see, this is my shooting stick. I'll have rest my crossbow right on here. I'll be sitting back a little farther so I won't interfere with these straps. I cut that one and moved it over a little bit, but I'll have the big camera going here, and I don't know, maybe a GoPro pointing back at me, but this is going to be my setup in the rain. I'm pretty excited. Like I said, there's a scrape up there and a rub, and then there's another scrape up there. Right out in front of me, I have this rubbing post that I put in a couple years ago. It's an old hemlock. It's pretty dry, but the deer have been hitting it every year. I may replace that with a fresh one and see if they hit that. From here to there, that's 20 yards. From here to the end of the pond, it's about 50, almost 60 yards. But anywhere in between here, I'm good to go. I also wouldn't be surprised to see a deer coming from this direction. You can see behind me, cut a fresh hemlock, attached it to that old rubbing post, put a scrape under it, some forehead gland up on the branches. That big hemlock on the corner, there's a scrape, natural one. I just doctored it up. Up on the hill, there's another one. There's my blind. From there to that tree is 20 yards. Now I'm gonna go up here. There's another place where the deer scrape, and I'm going to doctor that up, and then we'll be ready.